I try to look professional. Good afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you're looking at this. This is Big CED once again, the industry cosign, with the latest edition of My Friends Are Better Than Yours. And as I tell everyone that if this is your first time viewing, the purpose of me doing this is that I literally have a lot of dope friends, and throughout my writing career in the music industry, I've been covering like artists and things. I don't care anymore. I want to showcase my friends, and today you're in for a treat because I've known this woman for about 2 months now, and she's an amazing person, and I'm going to put my reading glasses on so I can give you all a little intro. See, I don't like the little. I gotta do the blue thing. Anyway, good day, everyone. Welcome, Yolanda Wins is an innovative music educator, veteran performer, and creative force among senior leaders, rebuilding Harlem School of the Arts. See, I don't even read it correctly. As music program director, Ms. Wins has boosted enrollment, attracted students of all ages, and forged partnerships with New York's top arts organizations by refining the department's strategic vision. She's executed classes and programming across genres and given the school's music output a contemporary refresh while preserving the original vision of HSA's founder, Dorothy Maynard, which is to enrich the community through artistic expression and appreciation. Through her extensive network, Ms. Wins has made HSA a powerful contributor to the city's cultural scene with branded masterclasses, artist lectures, and outreach programs from recognized musicians and leaders. Miss Wynn has a long history, obviously, in music, beginning at just 4 years old, singing gospel in church. For 15 years, she was a backup singer for Freddie Jackson, Stephanie Mills, Patty Austin, and other pop and R&B stars. She then joined the cast of The Color Purple as one of the church ladies and the lead role of Sophia. Miss Wins has been recognized by various media, including among the top 30 influencers of MusicalAmerica.com. Yolanda Wins is a graduate of Manhattan School of Music, and where we met going back, like I said, 2 months to, well, it's LaGuardia High School of the Arts now, but the High School of Music and Art, where we went to school with a lot of interesting. I was going to say intelligent, but I'm going to say more creative people because a lot
For
of them
sure.
have a lot of them have some talent, but But anyway, hey Yolanda, how you doing? It's great to see you.
Hey, Sid, how are you?
I am great. I'm definitely better than the last time I spoke to you. Cause I know we're supposed to do this, but the weather was like, you're not
Yo,
doing anything. So
life has been lifing and it's okay.
exactly. Now, I want to start off because as I stated, we went to school together. We both were vocal majors. You made a career out of it. I just left it alone. No, and it's funny because when I'm going through my emails earlier, I got an email from somebody that I sent about 4 years ago. She's actually responded to something that I sent a solicitation from 4 years ago. I'm not going to mention who she is, but um, the fact of the matter is, I've always admired you as a person, just from high school, just because gospel chorus, just being in the same classes and things of that nature. We graduated the same years, but the one thing that a lot of people, specifically from our school, didn't continue with the talent that they were, that they used to get into music and art, for
Mhm.
whatever reasons. And some people didn't want to, some people couldn't, whatever the reason is. And you're one of the ones that actually continued, and made a career out of it. And I've been watching you throughout the years, and I'm like, you're always doing something. So what I want to do is let people know that you are definitely one of the dope people that I want to feature, and want other people that may not know about you to know about you. So
Well,
as
thank you. Thank you for that.
the people that normally watch this, they know that it can go anywhere. But I want to just start off by asking you, like, why did you choose vocal?
Um, it was said, I don't know how true this is, that I came out the womb singing instead of crying.
I can.
And I can say that I knew I wanted to be involved in music at an early age. I mean, I just sang all the time. And so I was shy, but I would sing all the time. And maybe that was the comforting solution for me to kind of like be with myself. But I knew a long time that I wanted to do music. My father was involved highly in the church. And so I sang in church, gospel music, and then became a PK, preacher's kid. So was involved in the church a lot, and knew that I wanted to do music. So I went to a nursery school that had a music element to it. My parents, wonderful parents, spent money for me to do voice lessons, piano lessons. I think I was around 5 or 6 when I started. And, I live in Bed-Stuy, still live in Bed-Stuy, born, raised Bed-Stuy. It ain't the Bed-Stuy it is now, but it was definitely the hood when I was, living in Bed-Stuy. And yeah, we were a middle class family because my parents owned dry cleaning business. So it afforded me the luxury of being able to have, piano lessons and singing lessons, and being involved in cultural events from restoration to you name it. And I told them that I wanted to sing, for a living. And I remember they were like, okay, that's great. But I thought that was just going to be your hobby. I didn't know that was what you were going to do to make money. And, that kind of stuck with me, said, because it was like, I'm going to show you that I'm going to be able to support myself in music and eventually support y'all. And so that became my mantra at an early age. I was going to take care of my mama and my daddy doing music. And yes, the trajectory of my life in music has done some, roller coaster rides and leaps and
Turns and twisting.
yes, but actually kept me on my feet to be innovative and creative and constantly reinventing myself.
Yeah.
Middle school, I went to a school, Philippa Scholar for the gifted and talented, and did chorus in there. And in that school, actually was introduced to classical music, was introduced to musical theater, was introduced to other genres other than R&B and gospel. And I think this was like the first time I ever heard Leontyne Price. And to see somebody that looked like me doing it at the highest level just intrigued me. And so that was the little spark that I needed to say, yeah, music is what I want to do. And then, like you, I saw Fame uh, on TV, and I was like, ooh, that's the high school that I want to go to. That's the high school, right? And so my teacher, who was wonderful, he was my voice teacher and my theory teacher in junior high school, trained me. And he said, if this is what you want to do, we'll have to work hard to do the audition. And I don't want you to sing some traditional song. You're going to sing a song in Italian, or you're going to sing a musical theater song. And I was like, okay. And so he sold into me, and I was fortunate to have those teachers, those mentors that sold into me. And he said, you can be a singer, but I don't want you to be a dumb singer.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
I was like, I get it. So I had to learn, and I knew piano. So I knew how to read piano music, but I didn't know how to sight read, like as a singer, solfege and that kind of thing. So he trained me. When I got to the audition, I was ready. I was like, give me something, I'm ready. And got into music and art, was so excited. And I have to say, my high school years were the best years of my life. I cried like a baby when it was graduation. Everybody was like,
yeah.
you're supposed to be happy. I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna miss all these
Yeah.
people and this experience. And I mean, it was bad. It was like somebody died.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing with our school is that at the time that we went, like we went to school with like people who literally went on to become actual celebrities.
Great people, yes.
And the funny thing, the music and art was always known because I think Billy D. Williams and Ben
Yeah,
Vereen and all of
yes,
those people went. But it was like every 4 or 5 years they had somebody that graduated from music
right.
and art. But during our time, we had Slick Rick,
All
Dana Dane,
4 years we had Dan
um,
and Dane. Exactly.
Cassandra and Sharice changing faces,
Changing faces.
Miss
Yeah.
Jones, Tuffy with Video Music
Keisha
Box, and
Monk. I
yeah,
mean,
even Carl Payne, Don J. Whitfield, Tashina Arnold,
Arnold. Yep. Maurice
and
Lochner. I mean, it's
yeah,
Victor
and
Cook with Roderick Dixon, three more tenors.
exactly. We went to school with so many people that and that was a good thing. And like you said, I would tell people all the time that we went to the best high school in New York City, if not the world,
Yeah,
and the people that have come out of it, they've proven themselves. And it's like even Nicki Minaj went to music and art,
exactly.
of course, but so it's like
No,
finding
it's
out
great. I
Ronnie
mean,
Williams, Omar Epps,
yes.
Bokeem Woodbine. Like I said, we could go
Tina
on.
Torres. I mean, it's just the list goes
Yeah,
on and on. And you reach a point, she is no longer Chastity. Chaz
yeah.
Bono.
That's right. Sharon Sonny Bono's daughter.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
son. Or
Now
whatever. I don't know.
them,
I'm
they
sorry.
there, you know. But we were in a situation where it was very eclectic,
Yeah.
where people I, I got introduced because for most of my elementary school and junior high school, I was around my own people. I was around Black folk. Or in middle school, there was some Latinas. You know what I mean? But music and art, we had the Jewish
Everybody,
community, we
exactly.
had gay community. I mean, we had everything. And that's what I liked because we were surrounded with different cultures, and it was always a learning experience.
And I mean, even to this day, like Carl Payne did a comedy show recently, and I stay in touch with him. So we went,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
it's like always seeing people still doing things and having some type of pride that like not only were you friends with these people, but you're
mhm.
still friends.
Yeah,
And I just love the feeling that like we've come from a community of people that even when we do regular parties, because when I was doing parties in the Grill Village for like 14 years,
right.
like I would do it weekly, but I would be doing parties from people from music and art so often where it's like it was always a reunion. And I think that we always appreciated each other because we had so much fun in high school. And
Mhm.
even though because we were the only class that did 2 years at music and art and 2 years at LaGuardia.
It was a great
So
balance.
yeah, that great balance. And just going from the school in Harlem where you can literally get robbed when you go down that hill to,
Hill.
to going across the street from Lincoln Center
Yes,
and still getting the chance of getting robbed because King was across the street and
exactly.
the projects was across the street on the other side. So, but we went to school at a time where, it wasn't as it was really grimy and crime ridden, but we were able to not only survive and last, but have fun at the same time.
Yeah,
And since music and art was there's 5 specialized high schools for people don't know in New York City, and music and art was one of them, is one of them. And we all came from the 5 boroughs. So
yes,
we all took the train. Like everybody used to going to their local high school and just everybody from the block going to school. With
right.
us, we went to school with people from Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan, the Bronx, and
Jersey, even.
yeah,
Yep.
in Jersey. So it's like that experience alone, like, and I'm glad that um 2 reasons why I went to music and art. One, because I was singing, and two, my older brother Damon.
Hmm.
Damon went to music and art. He got there a year before me, and I'm like, you know, also the guy that played Leroy on Fame, I
Yeah,
forgot his
King
name.
Anthony Ray.
Yeah, he actually lived in our area in the Bronx. We
Wow.
didn't know each other, but just knowing that he's in the area, he's in the movie, and then knowing that I'm going to the school and having these dreams of like being like the biggest singing star or whatever, and and falling short just a little bit, but still being able to, go to people like you and other people. And anyway, like I said, let's go back to you because, like I said, you've accomplished a lot, since high school. Because, like,
Yeah,
even
so
high
so
school,
after high school, um, I was great in science. So my parents wanted me to major in biology and I wanted to continue with music. Remember now, I'm from a middle class family. So they were like, we need you to make money. Okay. And nothing against them, but they come from the South, so to the North, and they only knew blue collar jobs was the jobs that had benefits and that could give you, 401k and health benefits, and and you can make a lot of money. And so again, that was my mantra. But I had a choice to either go to Oberlin as a double major in biology and chemistry, and double major in music. And so it was like, okay, maybe I can do that. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's too much. I want to focus. And so I wound up getting accepted into Juilliard and Manhattan School of Music. But because Manhattan School of Music had given me a higher scholarship, I went with Manhattan School of Music, and I was back in Harlem because, of course, they call it Upper Manhattan, but it was 120th Street and Riverside Drive. So, I still took that one train, and it got a little grimy when it got to 125th Street. So it was like, okay, here we go. But I spent 4 years there, got my bachelor's degree in vocal performance, bachelor's of music degree, and continued. And then right out of college, started touring, started singing background for artists. Freddie Jackson was my first big artist, but prior to that, I was doing like session work for Jive Records and, just a lot of session work and studio work, doing background vocals and then doing touring. And I toured, oh my God, for about 20, 25 years till I was like, okay, tired of living out of a suitcase. I need to do something with my life. I want to stay stationary. And of course, I say to myself, now what could I do in New York that gets me this kind of money that I'm making on tour? So that's where you got to reinvent, you see. So I was sending out people because I knew that I was tired of doing it. So I was sending out people in my place to do the work. And then when I was running out of people, I just started a business of coaching folk to train them how to be a background singer so I could send them out. So it was like, I'm going to be for modeling. I was thinking of that kind of outline. So I was thinking of it in the music industry to, create young people to go out and do the background vocals. So, and then my last year of college, by the way, I had had to have my tonsils and adenoids removed, so I couldn't sing. I was on vocal rest almost a year after the surgery. And how do you tell a singer they're not supposed to sing? Somebody that did this, like wake up singing, go to bed singing, now cannot sing. And what I thought was a curse then actually was a blessing in disguise, because what I did naturally and as a gift, I had to now learn how to technically do.
Yeah.
And so that's where I learned about the voice and the vocal folds and all the different mechanisms and your breathing and speaking on the breath and off the breath, all that stuff. Head voice, middle voice, mixed voice, and that actually helped me to start my coaching business. So I have a vocal coaching business where I coach clients all levels. I've got professionals, I've got young ones starting at the age of 7 all the way up to seniors. Somebody 65 said, I used to do this, but I need to get my chops back up. I coach them, and it's been a successful run and it's been great. But when I said, let me settle down, it was like, ooh, what am I going to do? So I started the coaching business, and out of that, a mutual colleague of ours, she was in our class, Judith Insel. She was an instrumentalist, played viola. And she and I went to Manhattan School of Music together. So we continued the friendship. And she was then the director of music at Harlem School of the Arts. And so she called me to say, hey, I'd like you to come in and do a few lessons or, see about our choir. And so I went thinking it was just like an interview to see how things was going. And I went on a Saturday. I did like a mock class for her. And she says, okay, so I'll see you next week, right? And I was like, wait a minute, what? And that was the end of it, And so I was at Harlem School of the Arts, teaching, coaching. And then about 3 years after that, she left and they offered me the position as director of music there at the school. And I had been at Harlem School of the Arts for 10 years, actually 10 plus years, coaching students. And a lot of my students have gone on to Broadway. One was the third finalist in American Idol. She should have won, but I digress. But she was the third runner-up and did very well. Wayani McDonald, and is still doing well. I've got students now that are on Broadway or on national tours or recording artists. I coach even in Asia. I've got clients in Japan and in London. So it's been good. I mean, I think when I sent you the email, I said I've had like 3 acts. So the first act was, being the background singer and singing around and being the recording artist myself, doing a gospel project, and then going on Broadway and doing those roles. And a funny story, how I got on Broadway is I was doing a workshop on how to audition for a Broadway show. So I went to the Color Purple audition at the Apollo. It was over like 1,000 people to audition. And I'm going not to get the gig, but to show my students how to audition. And about 6 months later, I found out that they were about to start the tour. And Fantasia was going to take the lead on as Celie.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, I got to coach Fantasia because she comes from American Idol and she's not going to be ready for 8 shows a week. And, there's talent, but you got to know how to, really work with what you have so you don't burn yourself out. Because I was hearing a lot of stories about American Idol artists getting these Broadway gigs, but like falling out because they just didn't have the, stamina for 8 shows a week. So I was like, who can I contact to get to Fantasia to coach her, right? So I get a call from Tonsil Casson. This is all 6 months later. I'm forgetting about the audition. And Tonsil Casson says, we're calling you because you have a call back for an audition that you did a couple of months ago. I was like, who is this playing around? Stop playing. And sure enough, it was Tonsil Casting. So I go to Tonsil Casting. I do, the audition, the callback. And I'm laughing to myself because I've acted up, but I've never like done acting, no stage front, stage back, none of that. Upstage, stage right, whatever. And here I am auditioning. I loved house music, so I knew how to move well, but take a dance class, it wasn't like really, you know what I mean? So here I am in this audition going, okay, I don't know what's happening here, but okay. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is a great way of getting to Fantasia. So I'm still there. So I booked a gig and they're like, you're so good, we want you to be a swing. So I don't know if you're familiar with what a swing is, but a swing covers all of the female roles in the show.
Wow.
So I'm saying to myself, I got to learn all 6 roles and be able to perform them at a drop of a dime if somebody calls out. And I'm a believer. So I start praying. I'm like, Lord, now you know I'm not schizophrenic. So I'm going to need you to work on one role. Sure enough, 2 weeks after, rehearsing, one of the cast members call out because she had a twisted ankle or something. And so I just covered her role for about, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. And then she just kept calling out. So I was doing her role. Before I knew it, she was out of the show and I was doing her roles. Thank you, Lord, because that was not going to work. and got to meet Fantasia. Never coached Fantasia.
You were too busy working.
You get on tour, and I tell her the story, and she's like, "Okay, then coach me," And I was like, "Oh, right, like right now." And so she says, "Yeah." So it was so funny. So I did coach her, and we went through some things, and it was just an amazing experience. So, and that was a time where I was just about in my late 30s. And so I was like, oh, I lived a good life. I did a good thing. I started early. So I'm good. I'm going to retire. And God was like, no. We're going to do something else for you. You retire when I say you retire.
You're not
So
yet.
not yet, and so it's just been a real good life of acts. So my second act was Harlem School of the Arts, where I gave back to community. I enjoyed being in Harlem. Although I lived in Brooklyn, still live in Brooklyn, I would trek from Brooklyn all the way up to Harlem School of the Arts, and it was no issue. Right, and it was no issue for me. I was doing it, no problem. And I wanted to settle down, said I wanted to have children. And so I was like, oh, I done did the career woman thing until what? And I remember my doctor saying, well, you don't have like the other people, you don't have like the other women till 40. I think it's a wrap for you to have children. And I'm telling you, it was like my whole life flashed before me. And I was like, wow. So I have to tell you, had the meltdown, had to do therapy because praying for me wasn't enough. I thought that God had cursed me. You go through all those things in your mind. And the minute I surrendered to the idea of maybe I won't have children naturally, but I've got now a host of children that I can sow into, nurture, and mentor. That was the right timing for me to be at Harlem School of the Arts, and a lot of those kids was calling me Ma, and so it was just a great moment in service, and then God blessed me with a daughter that I took on as our guardian, and got her at 7, and now she's 18, wow. And it's just been that's probably going to be like somewhere in there with the second and third act of being mommy, and using the arts because she was diagnosed autism spectrum nonverbal. And so I was saying to myself, I talk a lot, I act up, I carry on. How is this going to work out? So I remember sitting her down in my living room, and I said, "Look at here. I'm an actress. I'm very animated. So you're going to use your words because I can't read minds. So if you're happy, say I'm happy. If you're sad, say I'm sad. And I'm doing all this animation. It was Sesame Street, And she thought it was the funniest thing, to see me carry on. And from that moment, we spoke for the beginning of our relationship with our eyes. And then it just matriculated into one words and then phrases. And now she is telling me what she wants to eat. We go out to eat. And I can't say, will you shut up? Can't say that because I prayed for her to speak. So, I'm saying now, okay, not right now. Let's not talk right now, and being creative, and innovative in her development, so it's been a good life.
That sounds great. I mean, that's a good thing. Like you said, things, I mean, the plans we have are usually the plans that's not going to take place because God is saying other things and telling us, yeah, you thought you was going to do this, but you're going to be doing this instead.
Exactly. And I have to say that I am living in my purpose, and I think that's what has sustained me financially, emotionally, physically. I'm around young people, so I got to know how to use a phone to text, to, do so many things, and now I've got the little emojis, so I'm trying to keep up with the times.
See TikTok videos from Yolanda?
Yep, you gonna see everything. YouTube, I'm on it. I'm ticking and I'm talking, okay?
So do you feel that going to music and art sets you up for the experiences that you've had when it comes to your profession?
Oh, absolutely. It's all been a setup. I will say this. The thing about music and art is you just couldn't do the arts. You had to be a A-list student. And those that even weren't A-list had to figure out how to pass to graduate. You know what I mean? And it wasn't strictly on talent. I mean, like I told you, I loved science. So I had to learn science. I had to learn English. And, even with doing solfege and learning how to read music, it was mathematics, So I would say music and art helped me to be creative. Reinventing myself is definitely out of that knowledge, and also learning how to read contracts, learning how to
Very important.
budget money. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people that signed a lot of contracts, said, that didn't know what they were signing.
And still paying for it.
Still paying.
Still paying for it.
At least I can say, if I need a job, I can work at Target and not afraid to do it.
Yeah.
If I was famous and they'd be like, "Oh, there's Yolanda Wins behind the cash register. What's she doing?" And so, people that are on a certain level of celebrity really do have to have that creative side to reinvent themselves, whether it's what do you call them, consignments or commission work. Because gone are the days, and we can talk about this, gone are the days where you made money off of selling CDs or selling your project. People don't pay for music anymore. If you do get paid, it's $1 for streaming, or but it's
a million streams. You still get $1.
Exactly. So you got to be creative and figure out, how am I going to make money? So some people go into the beauty business, whereas perfumes, makeup, or merch, and somebody like Beyonce touring, figuring that out, because the music industry and what's it called, Radio One, or these places that book you for these tours, they want to see your numbers. They're not booking you if not. You can't even sing at the local restaurant if you don't have a following, because they're counting the money.
Yeah, and the thing is, and that's one of the reasons why, like, talent doesn't always win. Like, talent plus whatever, but you have some singers that are all right that, like, couldn't touch
or
people.
Bad.
Like, yeah,
or bad. Not all right.
Like,
bad.
But they're popular. But they're looking at their social media numbers. It's like, oh, he has 100,000.
They figured out the business. They have figured out the business.
Just like, actually, a perfect example is Cardi B, even though she doesn't sing, but she started out on social media and worked that into loving hip hop, and now she's a rapper. And it's like, and that was only because of her appearances on social media.
Personality. Yep.
No disrespect to her, but not because that she was that talented, but she knew how to draw people in with her personality, and it worked. I'm still trying to figure out, to draw my personality, but I'll figure it out one day. But,
right. Well, I had a client when American Idol first started. She was like the youngest American Idol at the time, and I remember this contestant, Willy Wonka. Not Wonka. Lord, I'm doing Chocolate Factory. His name, Willy Wong. Willy Wong. His name was Willy Wong. I think he was Korean, and he auditioned, and it was the worst singing, rapping, or whatever the hell he was doing. But do you know Willy Wong got a record deal? And Gingham Style, walking up in Gingham Style. And it's so major hits. And I'm like, really? You have zero talent. But because he had followers and he was a personality, he sold, units and made money. So that's why I was like, yeah, there's an audience for everybody.
Yeah, and
You just
sadly on some terms, but good on others.
yes,
Yeah. But let
yes,
me ask a question because everybody is like on social media or has some type of social media component.
yeah.
What do you think? How do you think we would have been if there was a social media in high school, college? Because well, I'm not going to tell on myself, but there were, it wasn't exactly well.
We had social media, but it was word of mouth. It was
Oh,
called,
yeah, yeah.
you
But
know,
it wasn't documented, so we couldn't get in
no,
trouble.
exactly. But it's so funny when I think back, we didn't have computers. We didn't have cell phones. We had that and if you were highfalutin, you had the dial tone, the touch tone phone. Okay. So but this exactly next number. Yeah, right.
Oh
So
man, that's the wrong number. Got to hang up and start again.
up and start again. Right. And so my thing is, I'm happy that we didn't have those kind of resources, to be honest with you, because we had to create,
Exactly.
games. We had to create things that made us happy. We were best at making songs, at making beats. I mean, we were in the cafeteria just tearing up the cafeteria table with beats and coming up with stuff, human beatboxes. And I mean, we just can't, we were creative, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And for me, the library was my best friend. If I didn't know anything, we didn't have Wikipedia or Google search. We had to go
You
to
had to
the
leave the house
library,
by a
okay?
certain time too.
And I said to you, my parents were middle class people, so we did have the encyclopedia up in our house. So if I wanted immediate research to do immediate research, I had the encyclopedia. You know what I mean? Or if we wanted to get information, we went to the phone book. So people
Yellow pages. Woo!
pages, white pages for the businesses. So I tell my young ones now, I'm like, you're bombarded with information, and still y'all the dumbest kids I've ever met, because it's just so in your face till they take it for granted. I'm like, they're like, oh, who's such and such? Google it. You got it right in your
Yeah,
fancy phone. Your parents paid a lot of money for that phone in your hand for more than games and TikTok, social media, taking photos.
definitely.
It's a tool of knowledge, and so to answer your question, we probably would have gotten in trouble, but so would our teachers. I mean, because teachers now can't say too many things. I've had teachers say, no, idiot, that is not, you can't say that. You know, you can't escort a kid to the bathroom, stay in the bathroom with them till they're done. You can't,
Yeah.
just so many things now is just so inappropriate, and I've had parents that say, if she act up, I give you permission to beat her, you know.
But there's laws and there's people. There's over. No,
Exactly.
can't take that chance.
Exactly.
I just want to stop because I was looking on Facebook and I see that Felicia Yarber, Tisha Hunter, Kiki, they have all been
Oh,
chiming in.
lemonade in the house.
M&A in the house, definitely. So maybe I should have just told everybody so that we would have had a bigger, but it is what it is. But what
Cedric, still Cedric. No, I'm kidding.
listen,
But
that's
you
one
can
thing,
post it. You'll put it on your page, and I'll put it on my page, and I'll
yeah.
see it.
But there's one thing that anybody that's known me for 4 years or 20 years, they all say the same thing. I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's like you haven't changed at all. And I'm like, I don't know how to take that because some of you met me at a time where that wasn't necessary. Not to say that I've been a bad kid or I was in trouble or with the law, but I still have a sarcastic mouth. I still say things like at the
No,
flip
you
end.
don't.
Yes, I
No, I've never
do.
experienced it. Never.
So there's certain aspects of me that haven't changed. But at the same time, I tell people that sometimes, I mean, life of course changes, and I think that we even as children, like our personalities, of course, minus trauma and things that affect you in such a way. I think that, like, I know a lot of people that are basically the same. They still have the same personality. Like I said, situations of course change where people have to change, whether it's lifestyle, mindset, whatever. But I'm like, maybe because I don't have any children, and so I still get to be a kid at times. But but I do appreciate, like I said, running into like anybody, like even tonight. Well, I don't know when people are actually going to watch this, but Ralphie Daniels is having his party, and I know MC Search is actually performing. The third piece.
Okay.
So it's
And
like
you
I
know
know.
who else is going to be there? I know. Why did her name just leave the building? Tasha. You know, Miss Jones going to be there.
Yeah,
I
Miss
mean, this
Jones.
is what I'm saying. We
Yeah,
have people in our class alone.
yeah.
I think of Julia
Just in our
Murray,
classroom.
who, is doing it in the musical theater world, was in Wicked, when it first started. So, it's just like, it's wonderful. And I will say this, if I didn't have what I have inside of me, of course, with faith, from the church and knowing God, the other resource I had was music, because when that pandemic hit, said, it was like sheltering in place was really
Yeah,
a hard situation for those that are like, people
yeah,
that go out, and that's my love language is now you got to be with yourself. It was like I really discovered who I was in that moment of being with myself, but even then being creative,
yeah,
doing lessons on Zoom or on Skype or just being creative, because at the end of the day I still had to figure out how to make money in the pandemic. And didn't we have Trump then as the president? Oh yeah, I digress.
yeah,
But so hey, and had him for 4 years. So we got through those 4 years. I feel
yeah,
like we'll get through these 4 years. It's a little more traumatic for me because it's like you voted for him the first time, was like, whoopsie, okay, I give you a pass. But now you know the agenda and you still vote for him, and it's okay. And then there's double standards. It can get kind of under your skin. So the best thing you can do is be creative and tune out some of the clutter and some of the distractions, because it is a distraction.
we have a Pastor Leo Cologne says
Oh, Elio.
he says you owe him $3.17.
I owe him. Okay, it's time to go.
Like,
Love
yeah,
you, mean it.
okay.
Bye.
But so what, like, with your vocal coaching, um, I know. I mean, even as a vocalist, like it's funny because I say to people, especially because there's a lot of singers who are professionals that still take lessons.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Um,
I do too.
oh, okay.
Yeah, when I have a showcase or a workshop that I'm working on, I have to have somebody that I trust to work with, because a good coach, you're not supposed to be listening to yourself. You're actually supposed to be telling a story, or, working with your technique to be the best artist you can be. So you can't coach and do that. You know what I mean? You got to have somebody that you trust. And I still have someone that I trust that I go to. When I got to Color Purple, I told you I didn't know nothing about theater. I got an acting coach. I took Ron K. Brown dance classes over here at Restoration Plaza. I was like, I am not going down without a fight. I'm gonna get my chops up and figure it out, And even in my downtime, I wasn't working. It was like, this is the time to train. It's not the time to feel sorry for myself. I gotta take an acting class. I got to take a dance class. I got to take a finance class and figure out now what to do with the money that I did make. So I had to pay so many taxes being a single person. You know what I mean? Um, So all of those things, I have a financial advisor. I got people. I got a business coach. I got people that I got an accountant. I got all kind of lawyers. I got an entertainment lawyer. I got a real estate lawyer.
I mean, she's rich.
It's just
I mean, she's rich people. I mean, she's rich. Go ahead.
no.
Sorry.
That means I just know how to work my $10. But going to the days said in real talk where we can have an agent, a team, an agent, a publicist, a marketing director, a stylist, a makeup artist. All them things cost, all those people cost money. And I would love to have that kind of budget. But right now it's the Me, Myself, and I Productions.
Yeah.
So I've got to know a lot of things in order to be good at what I do, in order to function. And so, yes, I use social media, and I tell a lot of my clients, sometimes they get up there and they talk about, oh, it's hard out here and I'm not doing this. I'm like, that is not the place to talk about what's not happening. That's for your therapist and your pastor.
Yeah.
Get therapy. Stop it. You put on social media how you want to see yourself and how you want people to see you. It's positioning yourself well. Do I get down and depressed? Oh, hell yeah, I do. But again, I ain't putting that up on no social media.
I mean, it's funny because a lot of people don't know, but I didn't have a job for 7 years.
Wow.
I mean, I've worked for myself, but I didn't have like a steady job. I have steady income. Right. Luckily, I had enough money saved because I was trying to buy a house where I was able to, survive. But as you stated, how you went through the pandemic, it taught me about survival, that my survival skills are definitely more on point than I anticipate.
Let me tell you, they kick in, don't they?
Yeah. And anybody who's ever struggled, and the good thing is, I've had other friends who have struggled, and basically was like, the only thing that you should never do is give up on yourself.
Yeah.
So I took that to heart.
Invest. You got to invest in yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And the funny thing is that when I was going through my financial struggles, nobody knew because, as you said, I wasn't on Facebook or Twitter saying, "Oh, woe is me." I'm smiling. I'm doing what I usually do, and just like I tell people, I can have $1 million in the bank, or I can owe every company 100,000. I'm still going to present the same front because that's part of who I am anyway, and I enjoy smiling. And it's like everyone shouldn't know everything.
Everyone and for me, 9/11 showed me a whole thing too, because I had friends in corporate America making six figures, and when those towers dropped, it didn't matter what financial status you were on. I had a lot of people leave American Express, leave the Fortune 500, leave these companies because they were like, you know what? I could die tomorrow. And I have not felt like I've lived with a purpose or lived life or anything like that. And what's the money when you ain't lived? When you haven't lived. So, I know a lot of people left corporate America to do what they enjoy, whether it's a cafe, whether it's a dog grooming service. You know what I mean? Because life is not, and we learned through the pandemic to us, so we got to live every day like our life depends upon it, and like it's our last day on this earth, so that we don't have blues.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. My friends are better than yours because, as I stated at the beginning, I enjoy speaking to people that I've known for years who are doing things. And like I said, it's for me, it was about the celebrities years ago because that's what it's always about as a writer, as being in the field that I'm in. But I don't like them. I don't care about them anymore. I barely care about y'all, let alone the people that I have to cover. But for me, it's like, even now, it's like, I want people that don't know you to know who you are, or at least know what you do. And that's one of the reasons why, like I said, when I approached you about this, like,
I thank you for that.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I'm not gonna.
I thank you for a forum. I thank you for this forum because visibility, look, good exposure, even bad exposure is good because you in some mouth talking about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
I like to stay on the positive side, you know, but no, exposure is exposure, and it's how you, again, position yourself. And, you know, big ups to you for continuing this. Thank you for the people that tuned from M&A. It's so great. And we'll have more, you know, and you know, it's just keep up with folk. And yeah, it's been more, sir. It's almost 30-year celebration coming up of us, Music and Art, LaGuardia High School. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not counting.
Oh, wait a minute. That's next year.
But I'm just saying.
That's next year.
Actually,
wow.
It's been over 30 years.
40 years. No, 40 years next year.
It's been over.
No, that's 40 years next year. Wow, you're old. Oh, she's gone. What happened, Yolanda? I guess she realized that she's old now, so she can't okay, she's coming back. She got to pay that bill. It's not coming through. And everybody from M&A, what's good? She's trying to come back on. I don't know what's going on. I think she didn't pay the it's 4:00, so maybe like her power goes off at 4:00. I don't know. I see she's still trying to connect. Wait, let me just hold on a second, people. Just let me try to figure it out. Because on my end it says connecting.
Hello? Hello?